Welcome back to my spoilers channel. Today, we're diving deep into the whirlwind of drama and intrigue surrounding the latest happenings in Port Charles. Let's unpack the chaos, betrayals, and emotional roller coasters that are shaking up General Hospital, with secrets spilling faster than a broken dam. From unexpected alliances to heart-wrenching confrontations, we've got a lot to cover in this extended exploration of the town's most gripping storylines. Unraveling family ties at General Hospital. We start at the heart of Port Charles, General Hospital itself, where tensions are running high among the Falconeri family. Dante Falconeri is in full protective parent mode, his frustration boiling over as he confronts Gio Palmieri in the sterile hospital corridors. With his son Rocco recovering from a dangerous incident, Dante's emotions are raw, and he's quick to point the finger at Gio for potentially leading Rocco astray. His booming voice echoes through the waiting area, drawing concerned glances from nurses as he accuses Gio of negligence. Little does Dante know he's berating someone much closer to him than he realizes, a secret that threatens to upend everything once revealed. Meanwhile, Lulu Spencer stands by, her expression a mix of anxiety and restraint, biting her tongue to keep a bombshell from slipping out. Lois Cerullo, ever the mediator, steps in with a gentle hand on Dante's arm, her voice soft but firm as she urges him to take a breath. She knows the full story is yet to unfold, and her wise eyes scan the room for any sign of clarity. As Rocco slowly regains consciousness in his hospital bed, his weak but sincere apologies could be the key to mending these fractured relationships. But will the truth behind the incident come to light, or will misunderstandings continue to fester like an untreated wound? This family drama is a ticking time bomb, layered with unspoken truths and the weight of legacy, promising more explosive developments in the days ahead. A troubled teen faces the consequences. Down by the serene yet deceptive calm of the Quartermain boathouse, the air is thick with guilt and remorse. Carly Spencer, with her signature blend of fierce protectiveness and sharp tongue, corners Danny Morgan near the water's edge. The young man, still shaken from recent events, had returned to the boathouse in a desperate search for answers. Unaware that his friend Rocco had already been rushed to safety by Cody Bell and Gio Palmieri. Carly doesn't hold back, her words cutting like a knife as she reminds Danny of the reckless decisions that led to this mess. She paints vivid pictures of the potential tragedies that could have unfolded, her voice rising with each scenario. What if help hadn't arrived in time? What if Rocco hadn't been found? Danny's face crumples under the weight of her accusations, the moonlight reflecting the turmoil in his eyes. Carly insists he owns up to his role in dragging Rocco into a dangerous escapade, a misguided adventure born from youthful rebellion after their parents couldn't attend a much-anticipated event. As the waves lap quietly against the shore, Danny's internal struggle is palpable. Will this moment define him, or can he rise above it? With whispers of a stern lecture looming from his father, Jason Morgan, later this week, Danny's journey toward accountability is only beginning. This storyline delves into the complexities of teenage impulsiveness and the harsh lessons of responsibility, offering a poignant look at how one bad choice can ripple through an entire community. Secrets and payoffs. A dangerous game. In a dimly lit corner of town, a transaction of information unfolds with all the suspense of a spy thriller. Drew Kane sits across from Brad Cooper, the air between them charged with unspoken stakes. Drew's piercing gaze searches Brad's face for any sign of deceit as he probes for the truth behind a sinister act that nearly cost him everything. Brad, ever the opportunist, leans back with a sly smirk, hinting that knowledge comes at a price. After a tense negotiation, Drew reluctantly agrees to meet Brad's terms, his jaw tight with frustration but his resolve unbreakable. Brad, reveling in the upper hand, begins to weave a tale of betrayal, implicating Portia Robinson in a scheme that shocks Drew to his core. He describes in chilling detail how Portia allegedly obtained a dangerous substance, setting the stage for Drew's ordeal. But is Brad's story the whole truth, or merely a cleverly crafted diversion? Drew's instincts tell him there's more beneath the surface, especially with rumors swirling about a mysterious figure named Jacinda, who has vanished from Port Charles and possibly the country thanks to Nina Reeves' shadowy dealings. As Drew processes this bombshell, he mentally maps out his next moves, potentially enlisting his trusted ally Ezra Boyle to dig deeper into the web of lies. This subplot is a masterclass in deception, highlighting how far some will go to protect their secrets and how truth in Port Charles is often a currency more valuable than gold. Loyalty tested, a covert alliance. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of town, a tense conversation unfolds under the cover of night. Christina Corinthos Davis, her nerves frayed from recent missteps, confides in Lucky Spencer, a man whose past as a cop gives him a unique perspective on her predicament. The two stand by a quiet roadside, the distant hum of traffic a stark contrast to the gravity of their discussion. Christina's voice trembles as she reveals her fear that her own mother might be considering drastic measures to control her spiraling behavior. Lucky, with a furrowed brow, listens intently, weighing his words carefully. He hints that perhaps her mother's concerns aren't entirely unfounded, though he stops short of harsh judgment. Christina's eyes flash with desperation as she questions whether Lucky sees her as unhinged, her vulnerability laid bare under the starlit sky. Lucky, ever the strategist, keeps his thoughts guarded, knowing that in the worst-case scenario, a legal defense hinging on mental state could be her only lifeline. This alliance, born from a shared need to bury a dangerous mistake involving a sabotaged vehicle, is fraught with moral ambiguity. Their whispered plans to stay one step ahead of scrutiny paint a picture of loyalty tested by circumstance, raising questions about whether trust can survive when built on a foundation of secrets. This arc probes the psychological toll of living with guilt and the lengths one will go to avoid accountability. A sinister partnership on wheels. Somewhere in the labyrinthine streets of Port Charles, a peculiar meeting takes place within the confined space of a moving car. Ava Jerome, with a glint of calculation in her eyes, steers the conversation and perhaps the vehicle, while Rick Lansing sits beside her, his face a roadmap of recent trauma despite the removal of his bandages. The wreckage of his car, a casualty of a vengeful act mistakenly aimed at Ava, still lingers in his mind as he rubs a lingering scar on his temple. Ava's tone is deceptively sweet as she muses aloud about their supposed partnership, questioning whether they're truly aligned in their goals. Rick shifts uncomfortably, aware that their so-called teamwork is little more than a toxic brew of coercion and manipulation, placing him in an impossible position with his own flesh and blood. Molly Lansing Davis. Their dialogue crackles with subtext as they hint at a new scheme, possibly targeting another vulnerable soul for their gain. The car's interior feels like a pressure cooker, each word a step closer to betrayal or collusion. Are they plotting to tighten their grip on someone already under duress, or is this a prelude to an even darker agenda? This mobile conspiracy showcases the underbelly of Port Charles's power plays, where alliances are as fragile as glass and every ride could lead to a dead end. Under fire, a mother's burden. Finally, we turn to Alexis Davis, who finds herself at the epicenter of a storm she can barely contain. In a cluttered office overlooking the city, Alexis sits with a heavy heart, her desk littered with legal documents that spell trouble. Her daughters, Christina and Molly, have uncovered fragments of a plan that Alexis had hoped to keep buried, papers meticulously drafted by her confidant, Diane Miller. Now, with new documents in hand to rectify a prior mishap, Alexis faces Diane's weary gaze, the weight of responsibility etched into every line on her face. She murmurs with quiet determination that her daughter's futures rest on her shoulders alone, a burden she refuses to share even with those closest to her. Behind closed doors, Ava's ruthless demands loom large, threatening to expose devastating truths to the authorities if Alexis doesn't comply with her intricate schemes involving vast family wealth. Rick's involvement in this sinister plot only complicates matters, casting a shadow over Alexis's every decision. Though the logical step would be to unburden herself to Diane, Alexis's stubborn resolve holds firm, a fortress built from equal parts fear and love. The office walls seem to close in as she wrestles with her next move, each tick of the clock amplifying the stakes. This narrative thread explores the suffocating pressure of parental duty, the silent wars fought to shield loved ones, and the devastating cost of silence in the face of blackmail. Next, we're diving into the swirling vortex of drama and deception in Port Charles, with a fresh perspective on the latest General Hospital prediction. Prepare for an in-depth journey through tangled secrets, unexpected victories, and heart-wrenching dilemmas as we flip the narrative structure and expand on the chaos that defines this iconic town. From hidden truths threatening to erupt to cunning schemes backfiring spectacularly, we've got a treasure trove of analysis and imaginative twists to keep you hooked. Let's unravel these predictions in reverse order, with new layers of detail and intrigue woven into every segment. Drew's triumph amidst a brewing storm. Our exploration begins with Drew Kane Quartermain, who emerges as an unlikely victor in a scandal that could have shattered his reputation. In the smoky backrooms of Port Charles's political scene, whispers of a nefarious plot orchestrated by Nina Reeves unravel, but not as she intended. On a crisp Monday morning, Nina's meticulously laid plan to tarnish Drew's image stumbles into a wall of unforeseen consequences, her confidence visibly shaken as she paces her office, phone in hand, re-evaluating every move. By midweek, Drew receives a pivotal piece of intel, perhaps a cryptic message slipped under his door, or a clandestine meeting with an informant in a shadowed alley that shifts his suspicions away from familiar foes like Tracy Quartermaine. This revelation, coupled with his proactive steps to clear his name, paints him as a victim of malice rather than a perpetrator of vice. Imagine Drew, standing tall in Max Scorpio's office, demanding justice with a steely determination, his voice echoing with the weight of wrongful accusation. He's already taken a drug test to prove his innocence, a bold move that could turn public opinion in his favor. As Laura Spencer and Curtis Ashford share a quiet moment of commiseration over their shared frustrations with a ruthless political adversary, Drew's path to redemption seems almost assured. But at what cost? Could this victory inadvertently drag Willow Tate, caught in the emotional crossfire, into a deeper quagmire of pain due to her mother's machinations? This subplot delves into the brutal chess game of politics and perception in Port Charles, where one's image is as fragile as glass, yet Drew's resilience might just redefine his legacy. The fallout could see Nina and her ally Portia Robinson facing the very ruin they sought to inflict, a poetic irony that underscores the town's unforgiving nature. Sweeps Week explosions, secrets unraveled. As Sweeps Week approaches, the air in Port Charles crackles with the promise of revelations that could shatter the fragile peace among its residents. The spotlight falls on Brooklyn Quartermaine, whose closely guarded secret teeters on the edge of exposure, threatening to upend family dynamics in ways even the savviest Quartermaine couldn't predict. Picture the grand Quartermaine mansion, its opulent halls buzzing with tension as Tracy Quartermaine, ever the skeptic, corners Lois Cerullo with piercing questions about a mysterious heir. Her suspicions cut through the flimsy excuses about an orphanage like a blade, her sharp tone reverberating off the polished walls as she demands answers. Could Dante Falconieri, arriving amidst this uproar due to a separate family crisis, stumble upon this heated exchange from the shadowed staircase, his ears catching fragments of a truth he was never meant to hear? This accidental eavesdropping might be the catalyst for everything unraveling, sending Dante on a collision course with his own emotions. Meanwhile, Lulu Spencer, driven by a mix of curiosity and unresolved feelings, pokes her nose into Ned Ashton's affairs, her questions laced with accusation as they sip coffee in a quiet corner of Kelly's diner. Is she seeking confirmation of Ned's complicity in Brooklyn's deception, or is this her way of grappling with her own tangled web of secrets? Sweeps Week promises a cascade of consequences, each revelation a domino that could topple long-standing alliances. This narrative arc explores the suffocating weight of family legacies and the inevitable chaos when hidden truths claw their way into the light, painting a vivid picture of a town where no secret stays buried for long. Lulu's heart-wrenching confession dilemma. We turn now to Lulu Spencer, caught in an emotional maelstrom as she wrestles with a secret that could redefine her future with Dante Falconieri. Under the flickering lights of a cozy Port Charles cafe on a rainy Monday, Dante's heartfelt admission of love but not commitment pierces Lulu's heart like a shard of glass. His words, heavy with the lingering shadow of Sam McCall, leave Lulu reeling as she grips her coffee cup, the warmth a stark contrast to the chill of rejection. Carly Corinthos Spencer, ever the unsolicited advisor, offers her 2 cents later that day, her pragmatic tone urging Lulu to prioritize honesty over hope, their conversation unfolding on a park bench as autumn leaves swirl around them. As the week progresses, tensions mount. By Tuesday, Lois Cerullo's desperate pleas to Dante hint at an impending storm, while Thursday sees Dante seeking solace in Sonny Corinthos' weathered wisdom, perhaps in the dim glow of Sonny's office. By Friday, Lulu's resolve hardens as she interrogates Ned Ashton under the guise of casual conversation at the Quartermaine estate, her eyes searching his for any crack in the family facade. Her internal conflict is raw. Does she risk everything by confessing a life-altering truth about a child, knowing Dante's temper might turn on the messenger? Or does she wait, potentially losing him forever to ghosts of the past? The added layer of frustration with Brooklyn Quartermaine, whose meddling via chase has already strained Lulu's patience, fuels her impulsiveness. Picture Lulu, alone at night, staring at old photographs in her apartment, torn between love's promise and its peril. This storyline probes the devastating intersection of love and timing, asking whether truth can heal or only destroy, while weaving in the cultural tapestry of Port Charles' relentless gossip mill that amplifies every whisper into a shout. Now, we're delving into the tempestuous world of Port Charles with a fresh twist on the latest General Hospital drama. I've flipped the structure of our usual predictions, starting from the end and working backward, while infusing each segment with imaginative new angles, deeper analysis, and invented elements to craft a narrative far removed from the familiar. Prepare for an extended exploration of heartbreak, hidden motives, and shocking betrayals as we navigate the undercurrents of love and deception in this iconic soap opera town. Let's dive into the reversed order of events, with a wealth of added detail and intrigue. A deal with the devil, unveiled machinations. Our journey begins in a shadowy corner of Port Charles, where Drew Kane finds himself at the crossroads of a dangerous bargain. Under the flickering neon of a discreet diner on the edge of town, Drew sits across from Brad Cooper, the air thick with suspicion and unspoken threats. Brad, sporting a sly grin that betrays his opportunistic nature, toys with a coffee spoon as he dangles crucial information before Drew like bait. This intel, whispered in hushed tones amidst the clatter of late-night patrons, could unravel a conspiracy tied to a scandalous night at the Savoy One that nearly derailed Drew's life. Brad's eyes gleam with calculation. He's seen Lucas, his former flame, growing close to a charismatic newcomer named Marco at a recent gala, and the sting of rejection has reignited his darker impulses. Why not profit from chaos? He hints at a price for his silence, suggesting Drew sweeten the deal with a favor or funds to keep the lab tech's lips sealed. But who does Brad point the finger at? Perhaps a powerful figure in the medical community, whose pristine reputation hides a penchant for manipulation. As Drew weighs the cost of this transaction, drumming his fingers on the sticky table, the weight of political ambition clashes with moral grit. Will he buy into Brad's game, or seek the truth through cleaner means? This encounter paints a vivid picture of Port Charles's transactional underbelly, where loyalty is a currency easily spent, and every secret comes with a hefty tag. A daughter's dilemma, facing harsh truths. Moving backward, we find ourselves in a tense domestic scene where Alexis Davis stands under the harsh spotlight of familial discord. In the cluttered living room of her modest home, adorned with framed photos of happier times, Alexis braces for a confrontation as the late afternoon sun casts long shadows across the room. The topic at hand is a deeply personal one, her contemplation of a drastic measure to safeguard her daughter Christina's well-being through professional intervention. The air crackles with unspoken accusations as Christina, pacing near the window with clenched fists, might grapple with the notion that her own mother doubts her stability. Across town, in a quiet park under ancient oaks, Christina bares her soul to Lucky Spencer, her voice breaking as she confesses her fear of losing autonomy. Lucky, leaning against a weathered bench, offers a perspective tinged with tough love, his words measured yet piercing, perhaps suggesting that Alexis's instincts might carry a kernel of wisdom. His weathered face, etched with years of hard choices, reflects a man who's seen the cost of denial. Could this moment push Christina to reconsider her defiance, to see the outstretched hand of help rather than a cage? Meanwhile, Alexis, sipping tea alone later that evening, wrestles with guilt over whether her protective instincts alienate those she loves most. This storyline probes the raw edges of maternal sacrifice, exploring how far one will go to shield a child from their own demons, set against the backdrop of a town where personal battles are rarely fought in private. A shocking legacy, hidden bonds revealed. Next, we step into the buzzing epicenter of the Falconeri family drama, where Dante Falconeri faces a revelation that could shatter his world. Imagine the imposing Quartermaine mansion at twilight, its grand foyer a stage for whispered secrets as Lois Cirillo's voice trembles with urgency, pleading with Dante to mend fractured ties within their circle. Outside, the chill autumn air carries the distant sound of waves crashing near the beach where young Rocco Falconeri's reckless night landed him in peril, a stark reminder of youthful folly. Dante, his brow furrowed under the weight of paternal worry, directs his frustration toward Gio Palmieri in a hospital waiting room, the antiseptic scent mingling with his rising anger over Rocco's misadventure. But beneath this surface conflict lies a deeper, unspoken truth, a seismic secret about a child from a long-ago romance, hidden by nearly everyone in Dante's orbit. Picture a clandestine meeting years prior at a quaint adoption agency on the outskirts of town, where decisions were made to shield a young life from chaos, a pact sealed by hushed voices including Lois, Gloria, and others close to Dante. If this truth surfaces, perhaps through an overheard argument echoing through the mansion's halls, How will Dante grapple with the betrayal of trust by his nearest allies? This arc delves into the devastating power of withheld truths, examining how familial bonds can be both a fortress and a prison, with Port Charles as the unrelenting witness to every buried story. Rekindled flames or final fractures? Finally, we rewind to the complex tapestry of Curtis Ashford and Jordan Ashford's past, a love story now shadowed by deception and unresolved longing. In the elegant dining room of their once shared home, now Curtis's with Portia Robinson, the ghosts of happier days linger as framed memories line the walls. Curtis, nursing a glass of bourbon by the fireplace, reflects on a marriage undone by Jordan's hidden past undercover dealings with a dangerous figure that fractured their trust like fragile crystal. Now married to Portia, he's blindsided by echoes of deceit as she conceals a web of coercion spun by a ruthless adversary, possibly involving tampered medical records at General Hospital. Portia's nervous glances out the window, fearing exposure contrast with her earlier confessions, painting a portrait of a woman trapped by her own choices. Across town, Jordan, hardened by recent perilous missions under a false identity and a shadowy operation overseas, crosses paths with Curtis at a charity event, their exchanged looks charged with unspoken history. Curtis, noticing the weariness in her eyes, steps closer under the guise of concern, his protective instincts flaring despite their past. Could Portia's latest secret, simmering beneath her poised exterior, be the fissure that drives Curtis back to Jordan's orbit? And if so, would Jordan, nursing old wounds in her quiet apartment late at night, welcome him or guard her heart against another fall? This narrative thread weaves a poignant tale of second chances against the backdrop of Port Charles's unrelenting cycle of betrayal, asking whether Lubov can truly endure when built on shifting sands. Next, we will dive deep into the swirling drama surrounding Sasha Gilmore Corbin and Willow Corinthos as they head toward an explosive confrontation on General Hospital. This week, particularly in the episode airing on May 9, promises to unravel layers of bitterness, hidden truths, and seismic shifts in relationships that will leave fans on the edge of their seats. Let's explore this tangled web of emotions and secrets with a fresh perspective, reimagined details, and an in-depth look at the dynamics at play. The hidden truths and looming revelations. As we close out the intense week of May 5-9, whispers of buried secrets threaten to surface in Port Charles, adding fuel to the already blazing feud between Sasha and Willow. Beneath their public spats lies a labyrinth of personal betrayals, including a shocking twist involving a concealed paternity. Imagine the tension as Sasha navigates conversations with a careful Valence, knowing full well that one wrong word could unravel everything. She's woven a narrative that points to Jason Morgan as the father of her unborn child, a deception crafted to shield a more scandalous reality. But how long can such a fragile lie hold under scrutiny? Picture Willow, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface, yet sensing an undercurrent of unease in every icy exchange with Sasha. The upcoming episode teases a moment where Sasha might drop cryptic hints, perhaps warning Willow of an inevitable heartbreak tied to someone close to her. Could this be a subtle jab at a betrayal yet to be uncovered? As viewers, we're left to ponder how these hidden bombshells will detonate, reshaping the landscape of trust and loyalty in their world. A secret that binds and divides. Delving deeper into the underbelly of their conflict, let's consider the unspoken weight. Sasha carries a secret so monumental it could shatter the fragile remnants of her connection with Willow. Envision a scenario where past mistakes cast long shadows over present interactions. Sasha, now intertwined in a web of her own making, must constantly guard against revealing too much. Her illicit history with Michael Corinthos, a dalliance that resulted in an unexpected pregnancy, remains a ticking time bomb. Picture her internal struggle as she faces Willow, her words laced with caution to avoid raising suspicion about the true lineage of her child. Meanwhile, Willow's ignorance of this betrayal creates a poignant irony. Every accusation she hurls at Sasha is oblivious to the deeper wound waiting to be inflicted. Add to this the intrigue of Sasha's crafted alibi, positioning another man as the father, and the stakes skyrocket. Will a stray comment or a moment of vulnerability crack open this Pandora's box during their heated encounter? The suspense is palpable as we anticipate how this secret will inevitably reshape their dynamic, potentially turning allies into enemies for good. Sasha's veiled warnings and Willow's blind spots. Now let's pivot to the ideological clash that defines Sasha and Willow's interactions, painted with new shades of complexity. Imagine Sasha stepping into the confrontation with a mix of frustration and a twisted sense of concern, her words sharp yet tinged with an unspoken plea for Willow to see reason. Perhaps Sasha subtly critiques Willow's alliances, hinting at the folly of trusting those embroiled in controversy. She might weave a narrative of cautionary tales, suggesting that Willow's faith in certain individuals could lead her down a path of ruin. Think of a metaphor like a ship sailing blindly toward jagged rocks. On the other side, Willow stands firm, her resolve hardened by personal convictions, possibly viewing Sasha's warnings as mere jealousy or manipulation. Envision her countering with fierce defense, arguing that her choices are rooted in loyalty and belief in second chances. This ideological tug-of-war adds a rich layer to their skirmish, transforming it from mere personal vendetta to a clash of values. How will Sasha's veiled admonitions land, and will Willow's stubbornness blind her to a painful truth? The episode promises to explore these psychological undercurrents with gripping intensity, the shattered bonds of yesteryear. Reflecting on the past, let's reimagine the once inseparable friendship between Sasha and Willow as a golden era now lost to the winds of time. Picture a montage of memories, shared laughter over coffee, late-night confessions under starry skies, and unwavering support during life's darkest storms. This bond, once a fortress of trust, has crumbled into a desolate ruin scarred by misunderstandings and unspoken grievances. Today, their every encounter crackles with hostility, as if the mere sight of one another reignites old wounds. Visualize a poignant scene where a fleeting glimpse of nostalgia crosses their faces during a confrontation, only to be swiftly buried under layers of resentment. What if their upcoming clash at a public event, perhaps a charity gala in Port Charles, becomes the stage for this bitterness to spill over, drawing curious onlookers into their personal war? The tension of who will strike the first verbal blow hangs heavy, as each seems poised to unearth past slights as ammunition. This exploration of lost camaraderie adds a tragic depth to their rivalry, making viewers ache for a reconciliation that seems impossibly out of reach. The storm of confrontation awaits. Finally, let's set the stage for the climactic showdown that promises to be the centerpiece of the May 9 episode, reimagined with vivid detail and heightened stakes. Envision a charged atmosphere at a bustling location, perhaps the iconic Metro Court Hotel, where fate orchestrates an unavoidable collision between Sasha and Willow. The air buzzes with anticipation as their paths cross, eyes locking in a silent declaration of war. Picture the surrounding crowd fading into a blur as their exchange escalates, sharp words slicing through the ambiance like a cold wind. Sasha might unleash a barrage of pointed critiques, questioning Willow's judgment in matters of the heart and accusing her of chasing illusions over reality. Willow, in turn, could retaliate with equal ferocity, branding Sasha as a source of chaos and deceit in her life. What if an unexpected interruption, say a mutual acquaintance stepping in, only heightens the drama, forcing buried emotions to erupt in full view? This confrontation isn't just a spat, it's a battlefield where personal histories, perceived betrayals, and raw emotions collide, promising viewers a spectacle of soap opera drama at its finest. In wrapping up this exploration, the saga of Sasha and Willow offers a tapestry of human complexity, friendship turned enmity, secrets poised to unravel, and ideological divides that cut deep. As the week unfolds on General Hospital, we're reminded of the fragile nature of trust and the devastating power of unspoken truths. Will their clash pave the way for revelations that change everything, or will it deepen the chasm between them? Stay tuned to my Spoilers channel as we continue to dissect every twist and turn in this captivating storyline, ensuring you don't miss a single moment of the drama. What are your predictions for Sasha and Willow's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation alive.